you guys. We made it. We made it back. Welcome, if you're just tuning in to Secrets of Hammerfast. I am Ken Burlingsbeard, your dungeon master for the evening, and we are going to be playing some D&D 5th edition tonight. Our D&D 5th edition takes place with an amazing party of heroes, some of which you may know, some of which you may not know, but we're going to meet them very soon. This is our holiday episode. We are returning, because we just missed you guys so much. We missed all of you, and we missed, this crew. It's so good. It's so good to have them here. And so PAX Unplugged just happened. Maybe you went to that. Maybe you didn't. If you did, I hope you had a great time. If you didn't, you should go next year. It's really cool. Maybe some of you saw the Force Gray conclusion in Brooklyn this weekend, which I heard was amazing. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. There's just a lot of really fun stuff that's going on right now in the gaming world. And so if you are spending some of your gaming time with us, we really appreciate it. But to tell you more about our players, I'll let them speak. For our first and sort of like amazing, sort of like anchor of the team, I really have to say, is Kelsey playing Callie. You can see her character illustration sort of right above her avatar, if you will, her the window into her life. And Kelsey, what can you tell us about Callie and Rimpleton?
Oh yes, thank you, Ken. Glad to be
You're
an anchor of some kind. I am playing Callie Greenbottle. She is a halfling rogue, and she lived the life of an orphan until she met her friends with whom she's currently traveling, and now she's an adventurer. Her weapon of choice is playing cards and daggers. She throws and stabs with both. Um, dressed in like sort of worn leathers and in a cloak that she has an attachment to because she can't give it up from her street days. And she has a pig with her, a teacup pig named Rimpleton, who graduated from friend to familiar when she learned to cast spells. So he's got a good
Yeah.
attitude too. He's cool.
I I I love that Callie's from like Orphan Town, and obviously that means she's an orphan. Everybody, in case you didn't catch that,
She is.
which is so interesting to me that we don't know a lot about Callie's parents, but we do know that they are actually in or disappeared rather in the region that the group is in the region of Hammerfast. Isn't that right?
That's true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's awesome. Cool. Well, and then let me please introduce to all of you someone who you probably already know, but if you don't, he's sort of the leader of the group a little bit. His name is Anthony, and he plays Alaron. What can you tell us about Alaron, bud?
Oh man, Alaron was raised in a monastery where he learned both the martial and scholastic arts. He not an orphan per se, but came from mixed heritage. He's a dark-skinned half elf, which is very rare. He's brown-skinned, is how I normally say it. And that's pretty apt. Uh, he is clad in chainmail, and he's depicted boop 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 right there. He has a nice shiny helmet that is really reflective. He carries a thin blade and a shield with a unicorn on it, which is really cool. I can't express enough how much that unicorn is cool because he deflects arrows with it. That's badass. And now he also has a turtle shell. Forgot about that. It's kind of stuck to his back. He's glad to be an adventurer, and he's all for new things.
That's right. And so he trained at a monastery, Alaron did. And he's the one who really carries this deed of the Glitter Dark Mines, that the group sort of is the reason that they met the master sage that they've become allied with, this Glitter Dark. And so for Alaron, he seems to be a very honorable person, and so he also has this connection to this snowy white mare that this horse that he left back in the town.
Yeah.
He has these very sort of honorable and long-standing relationships with these sort of characters in our story. So it's interesting to me that we haven't talked about how there is sort of a branch of Alaron's monastery in the area that he sort of had known about, but hasn't really, been really learning much about. But he does obviously know that. He hasn't really shared it really with anyone. I'm going to skip. I'm not going to skip. I'm going to introduce, of course, returning our guest star for the evening. We have Brian playing Praeturo with us. Praeturo has been with us before, and some crazy stuff has gone down. But for now, can you just please describe Praeturo for us, Brian?
Sure thing. So, Praeturo is a bald elf. Like he was originally allied with the Summer Court. There, he lived in the court during its heyday. Apparently, he got trapped in a crystal for 500 plus years, playing a bit of catch up in terms of like history and stuff like that. He joined like the heroes like Elio, like his divine sun abilities somehow awakened him. He had a magic book that he had all of his spells and something very valuable to him. But unfortunately, because of some problems with the giant dragon turtle at the bottom of Glimmer Lake, he no longer has it. So his spellcasting ability is really getting chopped. So while the group like did a service for Cloudgy Shilkrota, he went back to the castle and has been assisting in with Sir Sage Glitterdark with getting the Eldritch machinery to work again to lift the castle up.
That's right. And we will talk all about the Raising Castle very soon. But our last player, and certainly not our least, someone would say, I don't know, perhaps the heart of the team.
I'd say the fire of the team.
Hey, heart and fire are very passionate things. They go together, I would say.
Ideally not too close together in most people.
Ideally not. You know the old saying, heart cooks brain. Come on. And so it's Thomas playing Elio. And so hey,
Elio's over there. He's the guy with the big fire head.
Yeah,
and,
he's over there.
the cloaks and the shiny armor. Elio is a Genasi cleric who worships the sun and wields its divine power against his enemies, or at least that's what he says. He seems to not totally understand his own powers particularly well, but he wields them with flair. No pun intended. But he's been he originally passed through the Summer Court and was sent there to raise the castle and reopen the portal. There ended up being a lot of complications on the way, and eventually, though, he and the crew pulled through, and now he is eager to, continue spreading the word and hopefully also getting the castle fixed up and open for business.
That's right. And so your group had descended beneath Glitter Lake, as we can see now in our image. Glitter Lake is under the Glare Peak. Glimmer Lake is under the Glare Peak. Glimmer Lake is where you have descended under, and Glimmer Lake is under the Glare Peak. And you guys know that there's a nearby settlement as well called Glimmer Peak as well. It sort of is a place where there's a penal colony behind some walls in a small village. You'd stayed in an inn there once, and that is the place where Alaron left the white mare that the group had freed from Hammerfast all those days and weeks ago. Some of this group has never been to Hammerfast. In fact, it is maybe just a legend to them, a place where dwarves and the undead live in harmony. And not only that, orcs live there as well. It is a very interesting place. However, we are to the south, in the same region of Hammerfast. But this lake that you had gone under, you found an ancient Fey castle ruin that had sunk beneath the lake centuries ago. And through a series of amazing adventures, which you should all tune into, check out our YouTube episodes, what is it, like 13 through 20, they were able to raise the castle of Id Othramel above the peak, or excuse me, above the waters. And so now that is where we find our group, is in a castle that has risen above a lake. The sun is shining. There's fresh air filling the halls that had once been encapsulated by a magical shell that has since melted off and sloughed off into the lake below. The trout folk are gone, or you think they're gone. You're not sure. Most of them are gone. Some of them are around. Things have changed in the castle. Id Othramel, as you all know, was once the demesne of a count of the Summer Court. However, when danger threatened the castle, the count decided to use their arcane magics and bring it below the lake. Now it has returned, and everyone within it has returned to the above ground world as well. As you'll remember, there are a number of towers in the castle. There is a front gate, a gatehouse, a barbican. There's also the Tower of a Mystery that you've heard of, where Jeff is, the creature you met when you first came into the castle, an alien presence. This is the most ruined part of the castle, this tower. You also know that there is sort of the tower of sort of the trout that Elio had gifted to Ziganut, a trout folk ally of yours who you have not seen in some time. You also know that there is a Fey tower, though the Fey that were there were destroyed by you. That is where you found Praeturo, in fact. And that tower has been searched many times at this point. And then there's another tower that none of you have gone into because it has been closed off. It's a bit of a concern. That being said, after your heroic victory over the forces that had taken this castle over, you've been finding yourselves very happy to be above the waters. Callie, how are you and Rimpy sort of celebrating? What are your first reactions? It's sort of been a day or two since you guys have sort of come back above the waters. The Potty Shah, the ancient evil underneath the castle, has been defeated, and you have returned now to the above ground world. What's going on with you? What can you tell us? Catch us up, please.
Yeah, well,
Callie
is going to spend
is
most
going to
of
spend
her
most
free
of her free
time
time
eating
eating
awesome foods.
Yes.
She loves that. That's a new luxury that she's only experienced recently. And she also will probably spend a lot of time hanging out with Rimpy, practicing their street tricks, their acrobatics,
Yes.
incorporating that mage hand into some really cool invisible floating tricks.
Yes, and like flipping, like almost like being like some sort of like springboard for Rimpy to do like weird, crazy flips in the air. It looks like he's like
and like cruising him over the crowd, like things like that.
Yeah.
They love that.
Yeah, crowd surfing.
Yes, definitely. Pig drive-by, a flying pig, if you will.
Flying pig. Oh my god!
Yes,
When
definitely.
pigs fly.
You make the impossible happen. It's Callie's impossible act. I love it.
20 dexterity, I can do anything.
Hell yeah.
And I guess she also will invest
Wow.
some time in her other favorite activity, which is mimicking the pontificators and particularly like sage and loud people that she's around that include like Zig and Elio. Those who are very dramatic. She likes to be behind them
Yeah.
also being dramatic.
Yeah,
along with
totally.
them.
What about for Alaron? What's he sort of been up to?
Let me answer your question with the question.
Sure.
Where is Glitterdark?
Glitterdark has a problem. In fact, you all do. The problem is that though the castle has now risen above the water, there is no way to get to land besides, I guess, the obvious. So he's trying to figure out how to get the things that he has found out of here. There isn't like a boat or anything like that, so he's not really sure. And so that's sort of what he's been up to. He is in the middle castle, if you're the middle tower, which is really now Elio or the party's tower. It was once the Trout Queen's, but the at the top of the center tower is where the arcane machinery and the eldritch power resides to allow the castle to be brought up and down. The incantations are quite difficult, of course. It's not an easy process. And so only recently has really the castle stabilized. And you all sort of have realized as well that once you were able to get into the caverns below the castle, there are now no caverns, only water. Yes.
Cool. Well, with that information, Alaron would immediately go to Lord Glitterdark's side and try to find him a way to get across. What do we have that can float inside the castle? There's got to be something.
So you're searching for something floating. Okay, cool. Anything else you're looking for?
Not at the moment, because my main concern is getting this guy across the river so we can identify this this deed.
This damn piece of paper in my pocket.
So I can, be an adventurer and get my pay.
Exactly. Praeturo, you have been going nuts. You've been going nuts because the prized possession of yours is gone. Can you describe for the prized possession to us in detail, please?
It was a magical tome filled with all years of my spell casting and the knowledge, and it also contained love letters for me and someone I was very close to back when I was around 500 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you telling the party who this person is?
I think you got. I've mentioned before, the guy who I was involved with. The guy his name was Beldeer.
That's right.
So you can assume that I'm very.
That's right.
That's it.
And the reason I bring it up is because Praeturo mentioning the person who he was exchanging love letters with reminded the group that they had heard this name before in Hammerfast, and that it was the name of a Fey knight who rode a white mare.
Strange.
Indeed. Quite strange. Quite strange.
So, in that, we also know a little bit about this hero because, like I said, he was a bit of a local legend, isn't he?
That's right. But that being said, Praeturo, you are obviously looking for spells. You are looking for anything that is going to allow yourself to be able to defend yourself, but just the loss of the knowledge is tough on its own. But you have a more practical concern, which is that you are a wizard and you do not have a spell book.
Yes.
So you have been scouring the castle as best as you can for something like that.
Yep.
You started
my old haunts. And
indeed.
stuff,
You started your search in the Fey Tower where you once dwelt as a crystal. It was very difficult to go there for you on a sort of an emotional level to return to the place of your imprisonment. but you did search and that you found nothing that would help you besides the inks and the materials to allow you to scribe spells and those types of things. But so you thought you could maybe try and string together some pages to make a, like a pamphlet, but that is not befits a wizard of your age and power. And so you continue to search, and you were able to actually find a spell book.
Yes.
You found a spell book, oddly enough, in the old court of the Trout Queen. It was underneath some rubble, where apparently had broken free in the conflagration when the party faced off against the Trout Queen. Go back to earlier episodes for that, viewers, chapter 2, and the end of chapter 2, and the Trout Queen, as you all remember, was defeated with the help of your friend, the ghost Snorri, who perhaps sacrificed themselves. Snorri was a wizard, a dwarven wizard, who carried his own spell book. But it wasn't a spectral spell book. It was a physical spell book. And that is the beaten dwarven leather spell book that you find, Praeturo. It does have some spells in it, which you are aware of.
Yes.
And those are the spells that you may prepare. You also know that you'll be able to begin to write your own spells once again into this spell book, including any third level spells that you know have now been written into the spell book.
Okay.
And Elio, what are you up to as in the aftermath of your victory?
Well, first Elio's going to see if there's. Well, you said that the lower levels were all flooded now, right?
No, not even. No.
Oh.
Well, yes, in a sense. When you, Elio, go to look at how to get back down to the underground tunnels where you fought the Padishah and had many adventures, go check that out in chapter 3, viewers. It is simply water. There are no stairs, or there are stairs, but they just lead to water. Like you are going into the lake.
Oh, so those caves were like down below.
Yes, those caves you now believe were in the bedrock at the bottom of the lake. And they probably are quite submerged at this point, quite violently and quite suddenly, you would assume as well.
So, the Summer Court isn't going to have their easy access via portal that they maybe had hoped for.
Yes, and you even remember the tales now that you heard from the Summer Court, those saying that you wouldn't survive this journey, because it is well known that the swim down from the lake in the Feywild on the other side is nothing. It's a pond. It's tiny compared to the massive lake that you have to then traverse upwards towards air once you're on the other side.
Whoop. So, I will then return to the castle and kind of mostly I'm checking to make sure that there aren't any like structural imbalances or things that look like they're going to completely collapse in on itself or possibly sink us all back down. I want to make sure that if I'm going to be here for a little while, then this place is going to be, secured.
Yeah.
So I'll check out, see if I can talk to the trout folk and talk to Ziganute and make sure everything's cool and that there isn't any imminent danger there.
Cool. Awesome. I love it. So awesome. That's great. You guys are all sort of walking, around the castle, doing your different things, either together or on your own. You definitely don't feel the feeling of any danger here or anything like that. Interestingly enough, Elio, you are surprised by Hari showing up. Hari is a water elemental, a half water elemental, a water genasi that serves the castle and sort of serves Elio to some degree. He is a water genasi sorcerer, and it seems that he has taken up residence in the Fey Tower and has begun to sort of make a home there for himself. He says that he sort of intends to some degree to be a guardian of this place if his father's presence ever creeps back in below the lake. Interestingly enough, the Fey portal is below the lake now, and getting to it would be quite difficult without the aid of powerful magics allowing one to breathe water or traverse water or teleport or something like that.
Presumably, Hari could do that himself, though, right?
Ari can breathe water. Alaron can breathe water. Of course, the party has much power. I'm simply saying others who don't have the power of the party, as it were. Searching the castle, you all sort of do come upon the kitchen area, which is nearby to where the tower of the trout is. And that's really where you've been eating a lot, Callie. You've been sort of been getting into the stores there. The unfortunate part, not even the unfortunate part, it's just a different cuisine. It's almost like sushi. You're just like stuffing yourself with like sort of that type of food. Seaweed and rice and fish and more very light, but sort of filling fare. So you're like eating a lot of it. Like you overeat quite easily, in fact. And I'd love to get a Constitution saving throw from you.
So low calorie.
First roll of the session.
Yeah.
Callie eats too much.
4.
Yeah, you're very drowsy. That's how I'm gonna say. Yeah, you're just feeling very drowsy in general. Alaron, Preturo, are you guys having any of the sushi?
Yes, sure. I will.
Awesome. Alaron, are you how much are you eating?
A very moderate amount.
All right, cool. Yeah, you just have a bit. You don't overeat like Callie does, which causes her stomach to be just hurt a little bit, but also just make her really sleepy. And so she's just a little drowsy in this scene. Preturo, you stay away from the sushi. Elio, you sort of sweep in intending to find Ziganoot. You guys can see that there are you haven't seen any trout folk around, basically. Elio, you've sort of been touring the castle a bit. Many of you have been searching the castle looking for things. Alaron's been looking for a floating device. But you guys can see that there aren't any trout folk around the castle, except 2 trout folk, seemingly guards, standing outside the entrance to the trout tower. So there obviously are trout folk here, but they are not communicating with you or really saying much. After the tower has risen, you're really getting the sense that something has changed. The trout folk do not dwell above ground normally. That's probably the best that you can sort of assume or get right off the bat. But anyways, the 4 of you are there, and as is Rimpleton, and these trout folk are there as well. What would you like to do, Elio?
I'll just sort of walk up to them and say, "Greetings. I seek audience with Ziganoot. We have much to discuss."
They say, Chief High Priest below the water. Seek the High Priest below the water.
Okay, what if I can't do that?
Then they like look at each other. They're like bobbly, googly eyes. Trout folk are exactly as they sound. They are humanoids who are sort of stunted. They are scaly. They have trout heads. These ones specifically don't seem to be like fully armored in the crab plate mail that you've seen some of them in before. They are more lightly armored, probably with almost like just sort of like a snail shell breastplate, it looks like. They're definitely trying to evoke the scales of the tortoise of Cloudy Schildkröte, the dragon turtle that dwells below the lake as well, or in the lake below as well. And that's sort of more the vibe. They have like these sort of, instead of having spears, they do have staves, but they sort of have like a fin on the top that have like claws coming out of it, almost like a tortoise fin, like a rake, basically. And so they sort of have those. And so they look at each other, and Elio, go ahead and make an insight check. Preturo, what are you doing currently?
I'd say I'd be looking over like going like I'm gonna try to find the cellars.
The cellars. Awesome.
The wine cellars,
Ooh.
because that's
Yes.
where my paramour and I spent many an enjoyable time together.
That
And
is
it's all I
correct.
have left right now.
Do you think he's still there?
That
He's
is
been drinking for 400 years or whatever.
No, he's the guy in Hammerfast right now. So
There it is.
I'm just going back for the nostalgia. I mean, it's technically not nostalgia for me because I remember being there maybe a day or two ago, but apparently 500 years have gone by. So
All right. I got a 13 on that insight, Ken.
perfect. Thank you. Praeturo, you know that the feast tower, as you remember, and it's a good thing that you bring that up, that you remember this castle in Ultramel as it was before it was ruined. It has returned now to the above ground world, but you remember the splendor of the gatehouse. You remember the sheer joy of the Tower of Mysteries, the grandeur of the Count's Spire, the ecstasy of the Love Spire, and just the sort of the comforts of the Host Tower. But above all, you remember these wine cellars. These wine cellars that were located in the Feast Spire near the kitchens where you are now. In fact, you remember what they're calling the Trout Tower to actually have been, that was the Love Spire. You remember it to be.
Yeah, we saw the murals. It was definitely the Love Tower.
Indeed, it was. Check out those murals, everybody, in chapter 3. And so, yeah, that's definitely right. But you do remember that the Feast and Spire is to the other side. The group, none of you have really been there, but that is the tower that I mentioned that is blocked, that you have sort of seen. You don't know exactly what's going on, but that's sort of what the sense you got from Rimpleton, actually. Rimpleton's the one who first gave you this rumor, oddly enough.
He's very sleepy, but he...
Well, Rimpy says that he got it from Jeff, so I don't know. He's just passing along the word.
That's right. We haven't spoken to Jeff in a while.
Yeah, Jeff.
Yeah. So that's what Rimpy says. But yeah, Praeturo, you know that tower is quite nearby. Alaron, what are you doing right now?
I'm going to tell the group that I'm going underwater. I'm going to let everyone know. I'm alerting them, and I'm going underwater.
Where underwater? Like,
Did you? Why are you so sleepy, Kelly? It's midday.
I had my third meal of the day already, so yeah, I'm with you.
You're a pig. You're a pig, Kelly.
Yes, I am. Rimpy's on top of my head nodding.
And he's giving the big nod and like the double thumbs up. They are porcine friends. They are porcine boon companions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go speak to Krudky Shoes Coulter.
Oh, good. Yes, we should find out what is going on with the Trout folk. They've been acting very suspiciously lately. Did I get anything from that insight, Ken? Or
basically, you're able to get that these two Trout folk that they basically are very confused. They have given you an answer to your question. They have given you a literal answer to your question. Where is the chief? Where's the head high priest? And now you've asked them this sort of like weird hypothetical question that seems to like just be really confusing them, and they're not really sure what to say. You do, however, get though that one of them seems to have some sort of idea, like it's a very dull spark, and it's like dead fishy eye. But you think one of them might be thinking something, but they're definitely not saying something.
okay.
What are you doing, Callie?
I am trying so hard to concentrate on what the Trout folk are saying. I'm gonna...
Yeah, you're concentrating on what they're saying, and for whatever reason, you just can't. It's like you're looking instead past them and towards the really cool door that they've erected. It looks very secured. It seems to be made out of some sort of huge clamshell that's been cut down to fit in there. Like they definitely seem like they have like made this tower their tower.
Is there a lock
Uh,
on it?
Yeah, it's a very crude lock. Effectively, all it is like some different dowels of wood that are put together, but it looks like you'd have to yank them apart, which would be difficult. Or perhaps there's some sort of more hidden mystery way to get them open, like you pull one pin out and the whole bunch falls apart type deal. That sort of looks like an interesting sort of tangle.
It is the most interesting thing in front of me, and since I'm struggling to stay awake, I'm gonna invisibly conjure my mage hand and just and send it that way and start to kind
Cool.
of poke at the pieces.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, what are you doing, Elio?
Well, without a whole lot else to do, I'm going to talk to Garl Glitterdark. Is that his name? No, that's the god.
Yeah, you guys are with. You know that the Lord Sage Glitterdark is in the top of the tower where the arcane machinery is. He's been looking out the windows. He is, of course, a powerful arcanist on his own, but he hasn't really shared his counsel with you. You have meeting him is not a bad idea. It's a great idea, in fact. But before you can, Callie, I need you to make a thieves' tools check, or please, or rather a sleight of hand check, I guess, as you're attempting to sort of pull this thing open.
I ended up taking expertise in this, so let's see here.
That's going to help you.
20.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, you do. You like pick just the right like wooden dowel out of this sort of tangle of them, and like a Jenga set, like the whole thing just like crumples out. The shell doorway, as it were, it's sort of it actually starts to just like a sag a little bit, and like sag to the like it was being held up or something like that. It just looks like now that you've taken that out, it looks a little bit more inexpertly hung there or placed there. And it even looks like it might fall over. But before it does, a creature emerges as the door opens. The creature looks very, very, very much like Ziganute. They have the same sort of coloring and the same sort of height, the same commanding presence. And as the trout folks see them, they go to the knee and they say in unison, "Hail Ziganot, son of Ziganute."
Zig 2?
And yeah, you guys see Ziganot. He is definitely looks different than his father. But definitely has the same sort of presence and coloring. And he looks you, Elio, up and down, and says, the Flame Lord."
I give an exaggerated bow.
And he gives you one right back.
Okay. Ziganot, where is your father?
Ziganute led trout folk below to the ancestral homes.
Ah,
Ziganot and those who dwell above will lead a new life for the people.
all right. Well, as long as you will honor our deal, I wish you the best and look forward to many years of partnership.
Ziganot will not accept rule of Flame Lord.
All righty then. Cool.
How intelligent are those creatures?
Make an insight check or a nature check, Alaron, please.
That is going to be a 10.
Nice. In your experience, the trout folk are not intelligent, but they are not like they don't seem to be incredibly unintelligent or something like that. They just don't. They definitely don't seem. They seem to be a savage people, as it were. Not to say that has anything to do with their intelligence or not. They just don't have sort of like the tools. They make their stuff out of just they're sort of a pre-modern society, as it were. And so their intelligence can vary. You would think that at least in your experience, they haven't been that intelligent.
Ziganut seemed to have it together pretty well.
His son probably didn't take his English lessons, his common lessons, as seriously.
Perhaps, but he understood a double negative, which is interesting. Regardless, thank you, Ziganot. Is everything well with your people in your tower? I trust the shift to the surface did not cause any harm?
The tower is strong.
Yes.
Will not fall. Ziganot
Right.
rules tower from above.
All righty. Oh, good talk. Nice meeting you.
He says to you, Flame Lord, what do you with Gatehouse?
Do you mean like now or later? Why the gatehouse specifically?
No one protecting it.
There's nothing really leading to the gate right now, is there? There's no bridge yet.
Maybe enemies come from the water below. Never know.
Yes, it is disturbing. Do you have a suggestion, Ziganot?
Everyone make an insight check.
Hmm, 4.
4, 7,
I also got a 4.
4,
17.
17. Elio coming in with the clutch. Preturo, Alaron, Callie, you guys are like just blown away. This guy, he seems like really smart. Like he does, oddly enough. He might not be well spoken, but he seems to be really smart. Elio, you realize very quickly this is exactly why he wanted to talk with you originally. That this entire thing has probably been a maneuver, and that this Ziganot is much more intelligent, maybe, than you originally had anticipated. As he says to you, perhaps Trout Warriors could protect.
Well, did I get any sense that he was trying to manipulate us, or
You get the sense that he is being politically maneuvering. Sure, yeah, definitely.
but not that he's like planning to kill us right now?
No. No. You get the sense that he is calling you Flame Lord. It is very clear that he is respecting the word of his father. You're definitely getting that sense. It's more that he seems to have ambitions.
It is a generous offer. By the terms of our deal, you are by no means obligated to protect the whole castle. You could just protect your people, but if you are offering yourselves in hopes of a closer union between our peoples, I would be a fool to object, especially given your prowess in underwater combat.
And he nods at this, and he says, we will protect Gate and become friendlier with Flame Lord. And he gives you the exaggerated bow once again.
I exaggeratedly bow back, and as I come up, I sort of keep an eye on him to see if I can sense any sort of reaction from, what I've just agreed to.
I think the reaction would be one of happiness. Like he's definitely sort of beaming. He's very smiling, very wide. He seems to be elated, I guess, to some degree, or like he's not like dancing or something like that, or outwardly, but he's trying to play it cool. But it's obvious that he feels as if he's scored a victory.
And Well, of course, we know you as stout allies. I would warn you that should we reestablish contact with the mainland, there may be some strange apprehensions of surface-dwelling folk towards your people. I would hope that you would not take them to heart. After all, you are the mighty warriors given the power of Clougy Shieldcrow to the guardians of the sea. Then they are mere surface dry folk.
He says, "This castle, once Clougy Shieldcrotter's castle. Now we all that remain of the turtle. Save you." And they all look at you, Alaron. Like all their googly eyes look right at you right at the same time. And they
Yes.
it's almost like there's this weird thing that's happening where you in fact, you all should just make perception checks, I think is probably the best way to go about this.
12.
12, okay.
Unnatural 20.
Praeturo, what'd you get?
Yes. Oh,
You got a natural 20.
yeah, you got an extra 20.
That's a 20. Congrats. And how about for you, Elio?
Sorry, which check is this?
Perception?
Perception.
Perception is currently not that great. It is it's a 10.
10. All right.
Sorry,
Callie, you got below a 10, right?
Yep,
You got a 7?
7.
Yeah, Callie, Elio, you guys just, it's weird. They're staring at Elio or something. Maybe they're staring at Alaron. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they're really sleepy. Who knows? Alaron, you have a weird feeling. Something is going on. Not like something magical, more like just the hairs on the back of your neck are standing up, like something weird is happening when they're looking at you. Praeturo, with your amazing elven ears, you are able to detect that the veritably subvocal emanations that these creatures are making, as they seem to be almost like doing this like throat chanting, like and you definitely are getting the sense that this is some sort of like religious honorific, like to Clougy Shieldcrota or something bound up in that faith that you don't really understand a lot about.
Would it be an Aquan? Because I can understand that.
It's not in a language, but you definitely get the sense that that is what it is.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, Ziganute sort of like turns around and goes back into the tower. Praeturo, where would you like to go next? Where would you like to check out?
Did I get the chance to go to the cellars or?
No, of course not. But the tower is very close. Is that where you would like to go?
Yes, I would like to go there.
So you start heading that. Yep, you start heading that way. What about for you, Callie? Where do you think you're trundling off to?
I am going to become invisible and follow Zigonaut.
Nice. All right, I need to make a stealth check, please.
I want to see how many zigs there really are. I mean, we've got zig 1,
Yeah.
zig 2. I got a 15.
Don't forget to roll with advantage because you're invisible.
Oh yeah, sorry. I still got a 15.
Nice. Alaron, where are you going?
I'm going to go visit Clougy Shieldcrow.
Right, you're going into the water to see Clougy Shieldcrow. Right, okay. And Elio, how about for you?
I'm going to resume my attempt to talk to Lord Glitterdark.
Great. So you're going to find Lord Glitterdark. Awesome. So the party's all splitting apart for the in every which way, which is totally cool. Yes. What is it, Praeturo?
Actually, could I maybe go? Where are the vaults here? The vaults that I used to tend here.
They are not here anymore.
Okay. Okay, then yeah, I'm just going back where I was. Never mind.
Yes. Yeah. They, as far as you know, they were magic, like pocket dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. So then let's do it this way. We'll just start with Callie. So Callie, you follow Ziganute into the tower and past the guards. All of them look at you and they say, Ziganot says, Ziggurat says, "What do you wish, small one?"
Oh,
And you're still invisible. You're still invisible. They're all just looking right at you.
I'll just stay invisible. And I'll say, I just wanted to know if there's more than one Zig.
And you've definitely snuck into the bottom level of their tower. You remember that there are 3 levels to it. It is the Tower of Love. But as far as you can see at this point, like they've been like affixing shells and weeds and different like sort of things from underneath the lake, like even like corpses of sharks and stuff like that, like to the walls here. You can make a religion check if you would like.
Got an 18.
Nicely done. You definitely are getting the sense that that there is a that this is like a antechamber to like a prayer space for Cloudy Shield Crota. Like that, this seems to be a place where sacrifices might be made or something like that, like animal sacrifices, or things like that. And that's the bottom level you're on. You can see that there are still the stone stairs that sort of wind up and go to the second level. Ziggurat says, "I have no child yet."
Oh. Well,
No more zigs.
Have you, child?
No.
And sort of looks down at the pig next to your side.
Well, I mean, Rimpy's kind of my friend, but well, I guess I would just like to go pay my respects, and I'm gonna hold up my Clougy amulet that I'm wearing.
Cool. Make a persuasion check.
Ooh. 13.
Pretty good. And he says, "Pay respect to what?"
To Clougy Shield Crota.
And he nods and starts to lead you away towards the stairs, like with a wave of his sort of fin-like hand. Alaron, you slip underneath the waves, or rather the water. It's sort of lapping at the stairs. The stairs lead up a good maybe 15 feet. They're situated right between a forge that has been dead for some time and the Fey Tower, where and you're just go down those stairs, and whereas before these stone stairs that were cut into the tower led into like a whirling pattern of natural stone that were the tunnels underneath the tower. And if you want to see those, viewers, check out chapter 3. But now it's just a water, like you're almost like you're like in some sort of boat or something like that, and you're just floating on top of the water, right? Like you are magically floating on top of this lake. And so that being said, it looks like these stairs lead directly to an entrance to the lake, and you dive right in. It's very welcoming. You feel right at home. You have the mark of Cloudy Shield Crota upon you, which means that there's a tortoise shell that has taken root upon your back, where the dragon themselves had taken off a scale from their chest and placed it upon you as it burned itself into you. There's a rune that burns brightly in the middle of that scale at certain times. Otherwise, it is not unseeable and cool, as the case is now. But it has granted you with certain powers. The latest of which, as you leap into the water, is you gain a permanent point of armor class.
Oh, what? Oh my goodness. I'm going to take that.
Please update your armor class.
Oh, yeah.
And you feel extremely at home in this water as you are diving down. It's almost as if you were being guided to a place that you've been before. The ancient place, the one of basalt stone that raises out of the ground of the lake bed, where there is a giant crevasse, a dark, impenetrable place where the pressure is too much even for one such as you. A place where the trout folk who worship Cloudy Shield Crota bring their dead to throw them into the rift and intern them below. And you're just swimming basically through the lake. The darkness doesn't matter, but what does matter is that there are still sharks in this lake. And I would love for you to make a stealth check.
Yee, that's going to be a 10.
A 10. Indeed. Yeah, you're more concerned with speed rather than stealth, as you are definitely beelining your way towards the altar, the ancient altar of Klaugi Schildkröte. Praeturo, you arrive at the entry to what you know to have been the feast spire. You had heard, as you'd been working with Lord Sage Glitterdark,
Yep.
that the Trout folk had turned the tower into some sort of barracks for their warriors, but that after the Trout Queen was defeated, the warriors sort of split up, and so it's been sort of empty. But then, very recently, effectively, you and the Lord Sage were able to detect a new magical energy that was encapsulating the entire tower.
Okay.
And that is what you are now coming upon. You see the entryway. It's actually open. It's like ripped open. There was once a beautiful a door, a set of doors that could be closed to show a beautiful sort of bas relief that had been carved into them. They're very thick doors, but you now see them. It looks like that they have been actually turned into the tops of crude tables, and they're further inside the tower. You know that there's a secret sort of way to the wine cellar underneath this tower. It is one of the only, if not the only, tower with sort of a basement, as it were, a cellar area. However, unfortunately for you, the way forward is blocked by a magical barrier. As you can recognize that there is just a very almost imperceptible sort of wavy bluish energy that is swirling around the entire tower. What would you like to do?
You said I still have my 3rd level spells.
You sure do.
Would doing a counter spell work?
You should make an Arcana check.
Okay. 17.
You believe that this magic is elemental. You believe that this magic is both elemental and fey at the same time. And you believe that you may, in fact, be able to counterspell it. It's possible, yes. Yes, you think it's possible, but you're not 100% sure.
Okay, well, that being the case, then I think I'm going to try and do it. Make sure.
Okay, so you're going to use one of your 3rd level spells to try and counterspell this energy that's surrounding the tower. Okay.
Yep.
Very good. Can you please describe for us what your magic looks like?
All right, so I gather up a bunch of sunlight into my hands.
Yes, it's shining down. In fact, the shell that once reigned over this entire place has just, like I said, sloughed off. And so it's just fresh air and sunlight shining down, drying all the stones of the entire castle.
So I collect sunlight in my hands, and I clap my hands together, releasing sunlight, hopefully, like eliminating any spells.
Indeed. Indeed, and that will counterspell. What it does is the sunlight seems to blast a sort of a rent in the bluish energy, almost like it's evaporating, and there is sort of this mist that sort of gaseous, sort of that it comes off of it, floating upwards. What would you like to do, Praeturo?
Is there a way for me to rush in?
Yes.
I rush in.
You do. And the energy shuts behind you. Elio,
Okay.
You were finding the Lord Sage Glitterbell, and you do find him. He is gazing out of one of the large windows that is at the top of the your tower, the central tower, the center tower. You can see it there depicted in the picture. And he's gazing out over the entire expanse of the region you're at. Specifically, he's gazing north. And as you come up, you're very high up now. This is the highest point in the castle. You look out over the north, and you really haven't done this yet. You've been so focused on the structure of the castle, making sure everything's fine. You know that everything is pretty good. The only thing that's really, really messed up is the Tower of Mystery, where the group came in originally. Like basically the top third and half of the second floor have sloughed off, and they're lost below somewhere. So that's obviously a ruined tower to some degree. But other than that, you really lucked out. There aren't really any other structural really damages to the place. And even you realize that was once an easy access for water into the Fey Tower, into the top of it, has now become quite an easy access for flying creatures or flying mounts to come into the castle as well. The top of the towers indeed allow for viewing the entire area very easily in this region. But as I said, Lord Sage Glitterdark, who is a dwarf, and I do believe I actually have a picture of him, which we will all look at.
Nope, that's not him.
That's not him.
No.
He's
There he
back.
is.
There
There
he
he
is.
is.
The Lord Sage Glitterdark is armored as if ready for an expedition. He wears more sort of a leather armor mixed with studded armor plates and engraved armor plates. He has weapons. He's old. He's the only remaining member of his clan, the Glitterdarks. But he is the Lord Sage of Hammerfast, a title that doesn't go without a lot of respect and fear in some circles. He is a magician. He's a powerful mage. He is obviously a sage, warrior. He also seems to be very preoccupied, always sort of cool under pressure, but preoccupied with something. And what he's preoccupied with, Elio, at this point, as you come in here, and it's always interesting to come into this top tower level because this is exactly where arcane machinery is sort of humming and glowing. You can see that the large statue of Cloudy Schildkröte that is empowering this entire place is sort of glowing with a soft energy. It is Lord Sage Glitterdark, who instead is looking at the north. And yes, there are mountains that way. The Forge Peak stands above all of them, the largest peak in this area, off to your north and east. But he looks true north to darkening skies. It is a very sunny day here. It is very beautiful. It is sort of the late sort of spring, or excuse me, that's not true. It's like the late summer, like early fall. We're talking about like September-ish type weather. This is new to you. You're not from this world. You're from the Feywild. You're from the Fey court. This is not the summer court kind of weather, but things are changing, but that's okay. It is very beautiful today, but on the horizon, indeed, there are these darkening clouds. And the Lord Sage looks at you, and he sort of gives a small smirk, and he says, you are the Lord of the castle now, it seems, yeah?
So it seems.
And what is your decree, my friend?
Well, there is much work to be done. First, I would seek to secure safe passage to and from this castle for all the people of our party and of the surrounding lands. We must reestablish contact.
Aye. You're going to be wanting to have that tower fixed too, I bet.
Yes. Wouldn't do to have such an obvious marring injury upon such a mighty castle.
It is a bit of an eyesore. Well, that is the way to Hammerfast, my home, as he points to the north. Moving his hand sort of horizontally, starts to point more to the like sort of north west. And he says, there are many peaks in the area. That is Glare Peak there. And that is Glitter Peak below it. The closest settlement to your castle.
Now, what was with the kind of chuckle there?
He says, "You maybe don't understand. This is quite the surprise for this place. This will draw much attention. You may have more trouble on your hands than it's worth soon enough."
Well, we will see. I will be the one to make that evaluation myself. And
Oh, don't-
perhaps the summer court.
The summer court, yes. We have much to discuss on that end. But perhaps once we're back in Hammerfast. Do not mistake me. I want to make sure that Id Orthramel stays returned.
Now, in the vein of re-establishing contact, I have a couple of suggestions. They may not be the quickest, but some might offer some short-term solutions. I do have some magics that would allow people to cross the lake. Perhaps we could seek out a settlement or a fishing boat or something to at least begin ferrying us back and forth. I also might be able to start building a temporary bridge, but that would take considerably longer.
And you two start to sort of converse about the possibilities and what you might be able to do. And you're sort of having this sort of discussion back and forth. And Callie, you're sort of brought up the stairs and into the next level of the tower. You've actually, part of your party has been in this room before. You fought some trout folk in this room before. There is an altar to Klaugi Schildkrota here. This was the place where you originally met Ziganut. His warriors and impressed him and convinced him that he should ally with you against the Trout Queen. The room is much as the last time you saw it. There's the sort of the crude statue of Klaugi Schildkrota, the dragon turtle that has been placed upon what looks like at one point was some sort of large pedestal, and maybe it's really big. It looks like this was the Tower of Love. Maybe there was some huge mattress on it. You don't know. It's just like it was just hoisted. It's quite far, and when I mean quite far, I mean like 8 feet or so above the ground. So getting up there, you're not even sure how you would do that exactly, but there are more stairs that lead up. In here, you can see there definitely are trout folk worshiping the idol, and you can make a perception check, please.
Perception. Ooh, I got a 21.
Nicely done. It's at this point amongst so many of them, and you do see that they aren't all warriors. It definitely seems like that there are like families here as well. They are all making a very now noticeable, since they're all doing it in unison, sub-vocal harmonization that almost sounds like some sort of a hymn or something like that. You're not exactly sure, but they obviously are directing this towards the statue. And you recognize very clearly now exactly what was happening now downstairs with when those creatures were looking at Alaron and doing the exact same thing. What would you like to do?
I'm going to participate for a little bit in paying my respects.
I need you to make a performance check, please.
All right. 20.
Yeah. You're doing it with them, and you're like improving on it, and they're like getting into it's like turning into this more like sort of like physical kinetic sort of like people are dancing, and like you and Rimpy start to go a little bit into the act that you've been like preparing and like sort of practicing, and it turns this very sort of like upbeat sort of celebration as the sun is shining through the windows, and there's someone busts out a drum from somewhere, and this music starts, and yeah, you sort of like start this just very upbeat sort of ceremony as like that's definitely happening. What else are you doing? Anything in reaction to that?
I think my purpose was just to figure out what they were up to and make sure they were still true to what we thought they were. And so after that joyful ceremony is done, I'm gonna be like, whoo, I gotta go. I'm just gonna
Cool, yeah. That totally, yeah. Alaron, you are making your way down to Klaugi Schildkröta's domain. And how do you summon the dragon turtle? Once you arrive, which you do, there is the basalt natural columns thrusting out of the bottom of the dark lake. But there is an ancient flat structure, almost like a gray stone plateau where you had fought creatures before who were now you recognize being controlled and loyal to the Padishah. But now none of that exists here anymore. It's a quiet place, and you alone are here.
Well then, I'm going to. How do you call a god? I pray to Kraki Shulkulter.
I need you to. Yes, yeah. Please describe. Go ahead. No, continue. Yeah.
I take on the vocal like a song, I guess, the trout folks sing, and I try to replicate it.
Okay, I need you to make a performance check, please.
10.
10. Okay. Okay, cool. Now I need you to roll a D100, and I need you to add 10 to whatever you roll.
Six.
16. Yeah, cool. All right. Yeah, you're definitely making those vocal emanations. Preturo, you have sort of thrown yourself headlong into this tower. You can see it's a mess in here. It's a ruin. It looks like that this was once maybe a place where trout folk slept or made weapons or something like that, or made armor. It definitely smells very fishy in here, very musty and wet. And it's just a mess. There's debris everywhere. It's sort of dark. But you're elf, obviously, so you have dark vision. So you're sort of looking around, and there's just water all over the floor. Like there's just puddles and puddles of water all over the floor.
Yeah.
But the energy has reformed behind you, and you feel like you are now trapped in here, possibly.
Mhm.
What would you like to do?
Not well. So let's see. Is there a way to get to the? So the group has not been to this tower yet at all, right?
No, none of them have ever been here. You're breaking new ground.
I'm gonna first check downstairs and see if the cellars are still intact. If not, totally.
Definitely.
flooded.
You go to where you know the cellar entry is, and you know that there's actually sort of more of a secret way to get down there. The elves love beauty, so they like seamlessness, and so it's quite hidden quite beautifully, in fact, in the flagstones of the floor. However, over it currently is a very large puddle.
I think
You might be able to yank it up, or you might be able to do it, but it is just submerged.
Okay, I'll yank it up. I'll get wet.
Okay, cool. You sort of reach down into it, and that's when the water starts to shimmer. And I'm going to need you to make a wisdom saving throw, please. You have advantage on this saving throw because of your Fey ancestry.
Aha, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ooh. 21.
21, awesome. Yeah, you definitely see the water shimmering, and it is quite beautiful, as it seems to almost reflect your memories of your time with Baldia, and the sort of the letters that you shared, and the times that you spent together in the cellar, and as you're seeing that, you sort of snap out of it, almost like your face was getting closer and closer and closer to the water. And you take a step back, and as you do, rising out of the water is a feminine form. You can see that they are completely translucent, They seem to be some sort of creature that you are easily able to identify as a water nymph, a nereid.
Quick, Kelly, get the bowl.
Sorry.
And she looks at you and she says, "What do you wish in my tower?" And she does say that in Aquan to you.
I respond back. I merely came here to investigate what was going on here and revisit a place that was quite close to me. I did not intend it to be bombarded by nostalgic magics of your own design.
She says, "You do not wish to return to the past?"
Is that an option that you could provide, or are you merely teasing me more?
She titters and says, "You do not remember me, vault dweller. But I remember you."
Oh, really?
Make a history check, please.
Okay. Aha!
Oh, that's a really great roll. You do remember tales of a nereid who was bound in the tunnels at the bottom of the lake, who was bound to be a sort of a protector and a guide to any of the members of the summer court who came up that way. It was the way that they were able to get above the water very easily with the help of a nereid. And so apparently she's not down there anymore. She's up here. And you remember her name to be Galia.
Oh, wait. Galia. Yes, it has been quite some time, and many of my thoughts, I think, possibly still remain crystallized, so I apologize for not remembering you right away.
It is no matter. And with that, we will switch over to Elio. Elio, you guys have sort of been talking, and sort of the idea is that Alaron is looking for a boat. Let's get a boat, and maybe we can make some contact with the outside world. Building a bridge doesn't make any sense. Maybe, let's tour the gatehouse. Maybe that's a help. That will help too. Maybe there's something that we're not. Maybe there's something going on there. And then he looks at you and says, "The one thing that's been on my mind, how did they get across the water in the old days when the castle was here before?"
I've been assuming there was some kind of bridge that was destroyed.
Curse me, I had no idea. I should have asked Pretero. Wasn't he around then?
Yes, well, I haven't really been able to keep track of him. He's been a bit distraught since losing his spell book, and I
Tell me about it.
want
You
to
won't shut
disturb
up.
him. Yes, well, I don't know. He must be going through a lot with the whole crystal thing.
Elves and their feelings.
And the crystals. Lots of crystals and feelings with the elves.
Tell me about it. At least with dwarves, it's crystals and blood.
Not a lot of elves in the fake hordes, but take your word for it. Let's go find Peturo then. I kind of wander off.
Yeah, you do. You wander off. You remember seeing him heading in the direction of the barracks tower the last you saw him. Alaron, you are praying and nothing's happening. You after a while get the sense that you're not going to get a response. It doesn't seem as if Klaugi Schildkröte listens to you. You
That's
listen
true.
to him.
He's a god. He comes and goes where he pleases. I will return.
Yeah, swimming up is no problem for you. You even realize you could probably swim to the surface if you wanted to. The only problem is that there are sharks in your way. But the only problem for them is that your armor is just too thick. They can't bite through your armor. And you fight off these sharks, and you feel like you could easily swim to the shore on your own. You could go off and do your whole own thing. But these sharks make it a little bit more difficult for for not necessarily for you to go, but maybe for your friends. Who knows what? You get the sense that returning to them is definitely the best idea. And you fight off these sharks that do find you, but your armor is just too thick, and you're easily able to get through them. You truly have become a master of the Glimmer Lake. And stepping back onto the stone stairs, sort of like throwing off some like shark jaws off your shoulder, you sort of step back on into the castle. And Callie, you're sort of walking out of the front door of Ziggurat's tower, and you can see that Elio is sort of striding this way, and that Alaron's sort of coming down the courtyard as well. But you guys, you haven't seen Praeturo for a little while, that's for sure.
Oh man, I just went to the best party. Where's Praeturo? Why do you have bite marks on you?
Oh, there were sharks in the water.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Didn't we go find Praeturo? I mean, I have a lot of stuff that I want to tell you all about a dance I learned.
That sounds
I don't
very
know.
important, Callie, but let us check the barracks tower first.
Okay.
And you do. Your group begins to move to the barracks tower. And it is there that you quickly realize that the barracks tower is sort of impassable because there's a blue energy that is all around it. Through the blue energy, though, you can definitely see Praeturo talking to some female form made out of water, it looks like. Alaron, you definitely recognize her. You others, you have not seen this creature before, but you do remember Alaron describing to you a statue that came to life that was holding a bowl that Callie has, that she knows summons a water elemental once per day. And she is speaking with Praeturo, and you all can sort of hear what they're saying if you listen very closely, which I think you are doing. And she is saying to him,
Activate my helmet.
exactly. Oh, cool. Yeah. She said, yeah, exactly. They are speaking Aquan, I guess, so you guys wouldn't understand them, unfortunately. But at any rate, they're speaking the language of water. And she is saying, if you wish to return to the past, it might be possible. Anything is possible.
Well, that is true. I mean, I have seen a pig fly recently, so.
He cruises by the force field.
Well,
Alaron, is he in danger?
She's speaking to him of returning to the past. I don't know of such magics. Do you?
I don't know of any magics. Callie?
I know this. I light my hand on prestidigitation magic.
sparks are flying from your hand.
Does that attract our attention, or is the barrier keeping us from seeing them?
No,
Ilya.
that definitely attracts your attention, Praeturo. But go ahead, Alaron.
Can you remove this barrier, Ilya?
Probably.
I mean, I don't know much about that creature, but the only thing I know is it screamed, "I'm free," and ran out. I'm not sure.
Go ahead.
It might be in danger.
Sure, I can pray at it for a while. Oh, mighty sun, shine down thy light and melt this puny barrier with its blue magics. Blue is not the color of the sun. It stands nothing before me.
You start praying. Praeturo, you are obviously recognizing what's happening, that your party has obviously arrived, but Galia Nereid also recognizes them. And she sort of hisses as she catches sight and sort of goes, "You will not be leaving so soon," and sort of sweeps her hand, and out of the pools of water, all of these like pseudopods, these sort of like watery tentacles are coming out. And you're going to need to make a strength saving throw, please.
Oh, God damn it. I get nothing on this. 11!
11!
11!
Tell him the rule!
So here's the rule. You may succeed or fail. It's your choice. But if you succeed on this roll, you will be at disadvantage on your next check, no matter what it is.
Okay. Well, I kind of don't want to get tentacled right now. So I'll take it. I'll take
You
this.
do. You do. So you succeed. The tentacles, the water tentacles wrap around you, but you sort of call out, and it's like one of your words meshes perfectly with Elion's prayer. And there's this sort of like just this lens flare that seems to like cut through the water that's sort of surrounding you as you rush forward. And I think at this point we should all just roll initiative.
Yeah.
All right, what did you get, Elio?
15.
Nice. And for you, Preturo?
Nat 1.
Oh, wah, wah. And for you, Alaron?
16.
16. And for you, Callie?
10.
All right, Alaron, you're up. What do you want to do?
Can I force myself through that barrier?
You can attempt it.
So that lens flare broke the grip of the tentacles, but not the barrier.
That's correct.
I'm going to attempt to force my way through the barrier.
Sure, you throw yourself against it. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
Oh, that's a pain. Oh, Constitution saving throw is a 21.
Nicely done. Yeah, you'll take 4 points of cold damage as you throw yourself up against this magical barrier, and it basically just singes your skin. It freezes your armor so quickly that you're just like, it's almost like your skin is going to stick to your armor. Luckily, you have some leather in between the metal and your skin, obviously, and different cloth. But it's just it's just jarring to you how cold it is. Are you done?
That did not work. Guys, we need to find a way. His life is in danger.
Are we sure?
I try to stab at it with my dagger.
Cool. Yes. You stab at it with your dagger. I think your dagger goes just like through it, and I think you should make a acrobatics check, please.
14.
14's pretty good. You basically see like just frost like going over the blade as it's going through, and you're able to sort of turn your hand right at the last second before your own skin goes through or your own hand goes through the barrier. But it doesn't look like it's done anything to your dagger except make it cold. And it doesn't look like your dagger's done anything to it.
My turn.
It is Elio's turn. Elio, what would you like to do?
All right, I will attempt to dispel magic on this barrier.
Cool. I will need you to do nothing more than that. Describe what your magic looks like.
It looks like Brightero's, except the sun's even brighter and hotter and better. Steal my sun shtick. Come on.
As the blue barrier is just shattered, and in fact, the energy surrounding the entire tower just begins to dissipate, and this light of the sun is blazing in through the door. Galia the Nereid throws her hands up and sort of falls backwards and calls out mercy on a traveler, a refugee.
What are you doing here, creature? What do you seek?
She says. She looks at you with her sort of like eyes that have no pupils. They're just like light blue sort of orbs. As she says, freedom from the summer court.
Where would you go with your freedom?
I would stay here in this tower.
Can I make
no
an
longer
insight check?
serve? Yeah, go ahead. Make an insight check.
9.
9. You get the sense that she's telling you the truth, that she is being straight with you.
So you want your freedom to stay here on this plane? Why? Aren't you from somewhere else?
She says,
Has the summer court bound you here? I thought that's what was going on.
she says, I was enthralled to the summer court to serve their nobles as they came to this place. But the waters of the Glimmer Lake have become my own.
I know a dragon turtle that would disagree with you.
And she sort of shivers at that as she says, whispers, Klaugi Schildkröte. And it is your turn, Callie. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna step into the room. I'm gonna point at her, and I'll be like, "You were trying to steal our friend."
She says, he wished to return to the past below.
I never said that.
He never said that.
He thought it.
I'm gonna like point my
He
dagger at
dreamed-
her, but
dreamed
hold
it.
my ground. Be like, "Don't do anything crazy, or I'll."
Would you
slap
like to ready an action?
I'm gonna if she moves to attack, I'm gonna ready an action to throw the dagger at her.
Got it. Praeturo, it is your turn. What would you like to do? Just so the scene is set, all of the puddles on the ground have basically sort of gone sort of wild. So it's very difficult terrain inside this entire bottom level of the tower. Water is basically swirling all over the ground, and it's sort of risen up. So it's about like shin level on medium-sized characters. So it's like up to your thighs, I guess, Callie.
All right. Well, I'm standing in thigh deep water.
Yeah. It's hard to move around in here. It's difficult terrain.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of mad because she immediately attacked me, so.
Did she though? Really? Yes.
She tried to tentacle me.
Yeah, that's
She says, I didn't want you to leave.
Ever hear the word please?
She says, the summer course never asked me. They only demanded.
so you would repeat their sins.
And with that, she sort of turns her head and like cocks her head rather, and has no response. Praeturo, anything you want to do?
Yeah, I'm gonna draw my sword and cast True Strike on myself just in case she does anything.
Awesome. What does True Strike look like? What does this cantrip look like?
I move my hand across my blade and just like a gentle, like billowy light wraps around it. Like
Awesome. Yeah. She the swirling water dissipates and it definitely feels as if the situation has de-escalated. As she sort of says, she says, I mean no harm, but I wish not to be harmed. Only to be free. She's speaking in common now, in case that wasn't clear.
And you are not free now.
I am. Do you wish to ensnare me?
As long as you're not going to weird spells and or drown and or crush people with tentacles and or whatever it is you're doing. Plus, we are no danger to you. We only seek harmony and all that good stuff.
She says, I am Galia, of a place far away. But the summer court. Yeah.
Hey,
Ask her what?
you guys are all from the summer court. Why do you want our friend to go back in time? I mean, do you really care about if he's happy, or do you have some sneaky purpose?
She says, he does not wish to return to the past, save in his mind.
So you were going to enchant his mind?
It is not such a hard thing to do to intruders on my territory.
You said you were from somewhere else.
Yes.
Are you seeking to return?
No. No. The Glimmer Lake is my home.
Hmm.
What was your reaction when we mentioned Clougie?
He is a dangerous creature.
He's big. Could eat you. Ow.
Yes.
And he is a thief.
He is.
Well,
He gave us services for everything he took.
he also could have murdered you, and he didn't do that. So, you know,
I'm also
Yes.
kind of his champion now, so I mean,
Praeturo, Galia looks at you and says, those of his ilk always covet what they cannot have.
yeah, they're dragons. They do that.
yeah, they do.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's definitely a dragon thing to do.
But yeah, we got. Seriously, we have no beef unless
She says,
you would like to bring the beef.
she's not, she shakes her head and says, I would barter for a place to stay.
Could you provide a simple service to us? Well,
What service?
not I, but my companions, they must travel to the other side of the lake. They must get to land.
She nods. Come with me. I will do this for you, if I may dwell in the tower.
I'm gonna sheathe my sword. You know what?
Yes.
This tower is yours. Do what you want with it. I was captive in a place for quite some time against my will, so I can kind of relate. Just don't make a habit of automatically antagonizing people who have no beef with you. Okay? Okay. Moving on.
All right, I would like to
walk
cast a spell really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stare into the mirrors that I've kind of embedded across my shield as I angle them towards the sun and kind of stare into the mirrored sun and think on the question, if we do make a bargain with this creature, how will things turn out? Can we expect her to honor it? And I'm casting augury to get a
Nice.
weal or woe reading on how this is going to work out.
Definitely. And I think I need to roll some perception or some percentile die, don't I?
I think that's only if I cast it more than once during the day.
Oh, okay, cool.
The
That's
first time I just get weal, woe, or weal and woe.
really well. Yeah. So you are looking at your shield and looking at the sunlight as it's glinting on it. Praeturo sort of has sheathed his sword and set his piece and is sort of walking away. Galia is sort of waiting for sort of the indication that the deal has sort of been struck. Alaron, what are you doing?
Well, if Elio's casting a spell, I want to see
You're
what
watching.
he's casting.
Callie, are you doing the same thing? Just watching Elio's casting?
Yeah.
Or are you doing?
Curious what the result is.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys are all looking into the mirror, basically, trying to figure out what the result is. And you can see the beautiful sunlight is just being sort of reflected back at you. And it's warming your faces, and you're feeling very positive about this decision. Elio, specifically you are feeling very positive. And that's when you it's weird. That warm feeling it's like there's a ruffle of wind across all of your faces as like Elio, your flaming hair like goes out for a second, like almost as if this very like strong gust of wind has been blown through, and it's chilling. It chills your faces like they've been warmed, and now it's like the tip of your nose and like the tops of your ears are feeling chilled. And the light of the sun is darkened to some degree as overcast clouds start to roll above you. It seems the dark clouds on the northern horizon that you'd seen, Elio, were moving a lot faster than you had anticipated. And as that bright sun disappears, you get your answer. The Nereid will bring both weal and woe to you. But you feel that weal will come before woe.
Very well. I say that we make a deal with this creature, but we should keep one eye open. Keep that bowl at the ready.
And says,
but we will take no action unless you provoke us.
She nods at that and says, the bargain has been struck. And the six of you, including Rimpy, sort of quickly make your way through the courtyard, past the central tower, down the killing field to the gate house. And
wait, I
at the
didn't get a chance
gatehouse,
to go to the cellar. Shoot.
at the gatehouse, you are able to see out over the lake. You're at the most sort of bottom level of the castle. You're looking out over the lake, and Galia begins to sort of swing her arms up and down and up and down. And she's sort of vibrating. Her form begins to sort of lose cohesion as she turns not into a feminine figure, but almost like a blob for a second. Or even better, a better way to think about it is the sort of what you see when you're looking at a sound recording, like the levels of a song. It's almost like she's a distortion as she's sort of just weaving in and out. And you're seeing this bubbling happening in the water of the lake as this ghostly bridge just rises up between where you are and the edge of the lake, the very shore, as this very well appointed, almost royal looking spectral bridge rises up out of the water. You can see that it is opaque. It is not totally translucent. It is semi-translucent. So you can sort of see underneath it. But as she steps out onto it, she walks on and then turns around towards all of you and says, "The bargain has been fulfilled." And she turns into a puddle of water and slides off the side of the bridge.
And the bridge is just made of water?
It's made out of force, it looks like.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a spectral bridge.
That's cool.
Oh, right. This is your first time seeing this bridge.
Ooh.
Yes.
And it's interesting
Or
because
anything like it, really.
as you guys are looking at the bridge, the day has turned decidedly more cloudy, and the breath of coldness you felt, it continues as now a really chilly wind is blowing through. And as you're looking, dark clouds are in fact rolling above the tower, and snowflakes are starting to fall.
This is summer.
And out of the clouds, you all see 4 shapes emerge. These shapes are icy blue. They have wings, and they seem to be heading directly for you. Though, I think we should roll initiative at this point.
Do they look like the methods that we fought before?
Let's talk about it on your turn.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. Now, Praeturo, don't forget that you're at disadvantage on your next throw. So that would be this
yes.
throw for,
Oh,
for
man.
initiative.
that's not too okay.
All right. What did you get, Praeturo?
Well, I had a nat 20, but now I'm down to a 14.
14. All right. And how about for you, Callie?
I also got a 14.
All right. We'll say Callie goes first. And how about for you, Aileron?
20.
Nice. And Elio?
3.
A mighty 3. Aileron, you go first. You have not seen these creatures before. They are not familiar to you. They look almost, the best way I can put it is like ice gargoyles is sort of what they look like. They seem to have long dagger-like claws. They have wings. And they are sort of like their maws are gaping as they are like folding their wings and like dropping like rocks towards you guys as you're sort of stepping out onto the bridge. What would you like to do? They are currently 120 feet above you.
I take out my sword and shield.
Mm-hmm.
120 feet. How fast are they moving?
You can make a perception check to try and gauge that.
I don't think I do a very good job. That's a 12.
12. Yeah, it's tough to tell. It looks like they're moving as fast as a horse. Maybe they're moving real quick.
Okay. I'm going to ready an action because in case they fall really rapidly.
Okay.
If they get within melee range, I'm going to make an attack.
Awesome. Very good. You're ready. It is your turn, Callie. What would you like to do?
I'm actually going to do the same thing. Prepare. I'm going
Okay.
to take my dagger out and prepare to throw it when they get within range.
Okay, cool. And what's the range of your dagger?
I think it's 2060.
All right, so you're 60 feet. You'll throw with disadvantage.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they've come within 60 feet of you, you will throw.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Awesome. And so you two are taking sort of getting ready, super quick on the draw. They do drop 60 feet. Callie, you're able to make your attack at disadvantage on one of them. Go ahead and make the throw.
Even with that, I got a 17.
Well done. That is totally a success. It looks like, that's totally a success. How much damage do you do? Remember, no sneak attack.
Right. It is 8 piercing.
8 piercing.
And so
Very
they don't
good.
take cold damage, right? No.
That is, you're unsure. You're unsure.
Because I have an ice
but
dagger, and it would deal an
you
extra
do.
2d6 cold.
I don't think it's on every hit. I think that's on a crit or something like that.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
I thought what we had established last time is that its damage is just transformed into cold.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just on a
Yes,
crit.
that's
You're right. It's just on a crit.
yeah. It's just cold damage in general, and it does seem like it hurts it as your dagger sort of nicks into one of their legs and then disappears and reappears into your hand. They all, however, point at you guys with their claws as ice bolts fire from their hands towards all of you. Callie, it's going to be a miss on you. Alaron, it's going to be a hit on you. It will be a hit on you, Praeturo, and it will be a total miss on you, Elio. Praeturo, you're going to take 3 points of damage. Alaron, you're going to take 5 points of cold damage.
Can I ask how much you hit by?
Yes, of course. I hit by 1.
So you know I'm going to block that.
Yeah, you block it as you throw your shield up. Indeed. And you are able to, you use your sword rather, don't you? As you sort of defensive duel it.
Yeah.
Block it away with your sword. You deflect it. Or you could even turn around and have it knock off your shell if you wanted or something like that. Anyways, you totally deflect it. You take no damage. Praeturo, you are hurt a little bit by that cold damage. But it is your turn, Praeturo. What would you like to do?
I'm going to cast Fly on myself.
Nice. You are flying.
And I'm going to fly towards one of the things and brandish my sword.
Awesome. You fly 60 feet up. Are you engaging it in melee combat, getting adjacent to it?
Yes.
Awesome. You totally do that. It is your turn, Elio, as you rush at it with your longsword. And it sort of hisses at you. And Praeturo, before Elio, you go, Praeturo, I need you to make a history check, please.
Okay.
Because you guys, this is maybe a little out of character for Praeturo, seeing him rush the enemy line.
11.
11. Do you want to succeed or fail? That is the question.
I'll succeed.
You do. So you'll be at disadvantage on your next throw, but you do succeed as you realize that these creatures are minions of a very old enemy of the Summer Court. Yep. And you sort of call out that name. Will you do that for me at this point?
This is not your place, like fiends of the Winter Court.
Nice. Indeed. And you do remember there being a certain person as well, a certain name that was a worry that was whispered in the days of the Count of Id Othramel. At any rate, you guys see Praeturo rushing apparently minions of the Winter Court. And it is your turn, Elio.
Well, I was holding a fireball, but once Praeturo rushed into there, I'm like, maybe I should reconsider. So, I will, How many of them could I hit with a fireball while not hitting Praeturo?
You actually think that you could hit all of them because he's like below, that's 3D, right? So he's below them.
All right,
So
the spacing works out. Okay, I will do that then.
Because what is the range on the fireball? Isn't it like 120 or something?
150 feet.
Yeah,
max,
then you're good.
so,
yeah,
I can aim wherever. It's just
exactly
how they're arranged.
Yep, totally. And what's your save?
The save DC is 14.
All
I don't think
right.
that's changed. I level up. No, it
All
does not.
right.
Reflex.
2
or
fail,
dexterity.
2 succeed. How much damage does you do?
Okay, so that is 13. 5 is 18. Plus 5 is 23. Plus 4 is 27.
27 damages. Nicely done.
So yes, just a big bright ball of fire kind of shoots off the tip of my spear as I slam the butt against the ground, trailing smoke like a firework, and then I just
Yeah, they all screech in unison as they're being seared and melted. You can see that 2 of them basically effectively they're like their ears have come off and like they seem to be bloodied. Like that has totally destroyed the 2 that failed. They're all quite hurt and sort of like it's almost like they were like this dive bombing sort of group of angels, and now they sort of like spread as this sort of like explosion of fire has caused them to sort of like turn aside and try and like dodge out of the way. One of them is still locked in combat with Praeturo, and it becomes Alaron's turn.
All right, they're still way too far, huh? And
They
you're
are
gonna
60. They are 60 feet up.
I'm going to fire my crossbow at them.
Cool. So you have a shield and a sword. So loosing your shield is a very time-consuming process. It takes an action to loose your shield.
I'm going to sheath my sword.
That's a free action, easily enough.
And then I'm going to take out my light crossbow.
That's cool.
And then I'm going to fire it at disadvantage.
Okay. I think we can. You need 2 hands for the crossbow, unfortunately.
It's light crossbows.
Oh, light crossbow. I apologize. Yeah. Apologies.
That's all right. Well, it doesn't matter because it's disadvantage.
Yeah.
I rolled a 9.
That is not enough, unfortunately.
I just kind of look over at Elrod and say, "You should learn how to do this with the fireball. It's really good."
I've read that. I haven't been able to put to practical application.
Callie, it's your turn. There's only one of them that is adjacent to an ally of yours, but if you do hit them, you will do sneak attack damage.
I'm gonna give it a shot. So is it
It's a disadvantage. Yeah, it's still 60 feet up.
gonna try it. Let's see.
Yep.
I still got a 17.
That's a success. How much damage did you do with sneak attack damage? That's awesome.
Oh, shit. So that's 6, 11, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 24.
Please describe for us how you defeat this creature.
Ooh, so I throw my dagger at it and it kind of like spins through the air and strikes it right in the chest, causing like fracturing and powdering, and it just blows apart.
Exactly, and it does blow apart. The rest of them like wing away. They like just a bunch of just like a firework. Like they're just trying to get away from each other to not be such a big a target. And one of them drops directly to the bottom of the bridge and slaps its hands together as a lightning bolt explodes from it and snakes down towards all 4 of you. And you all need to make dexterity saving throws, please.
Ooh, I have advantage against spells.
Excuse me. Praeturo does not. He is flying. Only 3 of you need to make dexterity.
Got a 17.
I got a 12.
Okay, and how about for Elio?
An 8.
Cool. Elio and Alaron, you both take 23 lightning damage.
Ouch.
Callie, you are a rogue with evasion, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You take 0 lightning damage as you and Rimpy do this very amazing synchronized kickflip around the lightning bolt as it sort of snakes its way down this place. The other 2 ice creatures one of them they're coming at you, Praeturo, with their claws, it looks like. And one will hit an armor class of 21, and the other will hit an armor class of 12. Okay, both hit you. As you take
I no longer have
as
major
you-
armor because my book is gone.
you take 6 points of damage as they're clawing into you.
Okay.
And it is your turn, Praeturo. They are on both sides of him now, Praeturo. They're on both. One's above you and one's below you, basically, as they're like clawing at you from both directions.
Well, I want to get one of them off my back. So, on the one that's below me,
They're both bloodied. They're both quite hurt.
okay, on the one that's below me, I'm going to cast Hideous Laughter.
Oh, what's your save?
Is 14.
14, and it's a wisdom saving throw. Is that right?
Wisdom.
That's a failure.
Yes.
It does start laughing. It's weird. It's like ice breath. It's sort of like coming out of it as it's just like holding its sides and starting to just like slowly rotate in midair.
And it becomes incapacitated, and I think, does that mean it falls to the ground?
No, its speed becomes 0 basically. So it's just sort of floating there.
Okay.
Yeah, you're realizing, Praeturo. In fact, you're all realizing that none of these creatures are flapping their wings. It looks like they are made out of ice. Like they are not flapping they don't have wings. They don't have leather. They're made out of ice. They're made to resemble wings. But you actually get the sense that these creatures are just flying, like they are magically flying. Indeed. It is your turn, Elio.
All right. Now they've split up, I'm going to sort of wave my spear around my head in more of a circle, and bolts of flame are going to fly off of it towards a couple of them. So I'm going to use Firebolt.
Indeed.
Or not Firebolt, Scorching Rays. Scorching Rays, I'm going to aim 2 at the bloodied one that Praeturo is fighting that does not have the laughter spell, and one at the third one that's split off. Got it.
Go ahead and make your first 2 attacks, please.
All right. So that is a we're just not going to do that one. That's a 2. That's an 8 total.
Miss.
Next one is also an 8 total.
Yes.
Because I rolled 2 2s in a row.
Brutal.
And the final one is a 12.
That is a success. Right on the money.
Wow. Okay. So the final one takes 7 points of fire damage, and I kind of embarrassingly slink back.
Yeah, you blast a hole through one of its wings, but the other 2, or rather the other one, is too quick as it's sort of flying figure 8s around your beak.
Yeah, I maybe got a bit too fancy with the spear swirling and didn't really.
Indeed. Alaron, it's your turn. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna make a mad dash for the one that's on the bridge.
Totally. You're able to get there. You have a light crossbow in your hand.
Oh yeah, I'll have to drop it.
All right, you drop it as you're rushing forward. You'll have to double move, unfortunately, to get to the creature. It's pretty further down the bridge.
Okay, then I will double move towards it.
You do. As you were yanking out your rapier, you are able to get to the creature. Is your turn done?
I've already used my action surge at the beginning of.
You did?
Yeah, to drop my to.
No, you didn't. You didn't use it.
Okay, then I'll use my action surge now.
Cool. Use your action surge. Make your attack, please.
That's an 8.
That's a miss, unfortunately. Callie, it's your turn. You can see that there's one that's 60 feet away from you that Alaron's now fighting, and there are 2 that are 60 feet above you, or rather one's...
I don't get multiple attacks with that? I'm sorry, but...
Yeah, you do get multiple attacks. You should make your second attack,
Oh,
yes.
thank you for knowing my rules better than me. And that's a hit.
Yay! Yeah, thanks, Thomas.
Thank you.
Don't want to see an action surge wasted.
Yeah.
And that's 12 damage.
Nice. You bloody the creature. It has a hole in its wing where Elio blasted it, and you just shove your rapier right full through its body and then yank it out as it sort of like jerks. And you can see it seems to be a creature of magic. Like there's some sort of center spot to it that you almost struck to destroy it. And that's exactly what Callie hit when she destroyed the first one. And it is your turn at this point, Callie.
Cool. So I'm going to run 25 feet, well, I guess move 25 feet towards that one on the bridge. And then I'm going to use my cunning action to move again so that I'm within 20-foot range of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to kind of do like a cartwheel, and as I land, I'm going to whip the dagger.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It. Nice.
So
Go ahead and make your attack.
15.
Success. And don't forget to do sneak attack damage on top of whatever regular game. Oh, yeah.
That's, 13, 14, 18. Another 24 damage.
Nice.
Whoa.
Please describe how you destroy this creature.
Well, this time I get the weak spot from the back. The dagger like slices through the front of it, and it pokes right out the front, causing like hairline fractures that powders it in the dust.
Yeah, Alron, you basically shove your sword into the front of it and pull out. It jerks, and then Callie's blade comes right through its chest as it just shatters and falls to the ground in pieces. The other two attack you, Praeturo, as they both do. They are
One of them is laughing.
One of them is laughing. He's not attacking you. I apologize. The other one does attack you, though, and does 5 points of damage as he's clawing.
I am not doing well.
All right. It is your turn. What would you like to do?
I would like to rush down back to the ground.
Okay, you're getting an attack of opportunity, which hits you, and you will take 5 points of damage.
I need help.
All right, yeah, you are just fleeing as you rush back down. Your move action, are you going 60 feet down to the ground?
Yes.
Who are you? Are you landing near anyone, or are you just sort of by yourself, or?
I'll land near. Let's see.
There's basically two groups: Callie and Alaron, or Elio.
I'll go with Elio.
You land next to Elio. You have an action. Would you like to do anything? You only moved.
Well, I need to make. Well, I'm just gonna maintain that hideous laughter on that other one.
Okay, you totally do that. It's your turn, Elio. What would you like to do?
Okay. Well,
Like, I am very bloody right now.
Indeed.
oh right, yeah, I can do something about that. All right. I will run over to Praeturo. I will cast let's see. I'm gonna go to Praeturo. I'm gonna cast Sanctuary on him.
Nice. Please describe for us what the spell looks like.
So I think I've spoken of it before, but there's just sort of a glowing corona around him.
Yeah.
Like you'd sort of see around a lens flare or a glowing sun. If you look too directly at it. So it's just very difficult to focus your eyes directly on him if you're an enemy.
That's right. And you, as you cast this on him, Elio, you get the sense that Praeturo, there is the look on his face of perhaps of someone who is faithful in what you're actually doing, the actual god that you're invoking. That the summer court and the sun seem to have resonance, at least in Praeturo's.
And I'm just going to say to Praeturo, don't cast any spells that hurt people while this is up. Maybe make Alaron fly. He seems like he could use that. And then I'm going to
do that.
Sorry?
I can't do that.
Well, then do something else. I turn around and I grab a big piece of fire kind of off my shoulder, and I fling it at the thing that Alaron is fighting.
That one was just destroyed. That
one was the one that was destroyed. Sorry.
There's only two above.
I'll fling it at the non-laughing one above.
Yes,
this is
go ahead.
My produce flame cantrip, so it's the attack roll. So that's only a 10. Jeez, I'm rolling off.
Unfortunately. And the one that's not laughing begins to streak away back towards the cloud cover. The one that is not laughing seems to lose integrity and turn into a mass of snowy sort of flakes. And they all start to fall on to the ground. Your party can see that snow is sort of falling all over sort of everywhere in this region. It is definitely very unnatural, and it is definitely concerning. You can see that it looks like the fires from Glimmer Peak, the settlement, can be seen from afar. It definitely seems like people are there. You know that your companion, the mayor, is there, as well as the dwarf Glitterdark. But something sinister seems to be happening in the area. But we'll find out more about that on our next episode. So for now, thanks everybody for tuning in, and thanks to everybody for playing. This has been our Secrets of Hammerfast winter bridge episode. This is our holiday episode, so I hope you're enjoying it.
That's
We
what gets
may,
snow. Okay.
in fact, meet again before the holidays are out. We'll see about that. But for now, I am Ken Breeze, a concierge DM in the New York City area. Hire me to run your games. I'm Burling's Beard. Find me at my website. Also, check out my podcast, Board Ghost, where we do diceless and DM-less storytelling games. And thank you all so much, players. You're amazing for being on. Kelsey, where can we find you if we want to catch up with more what you're up to?
Yeah, you can find me on my website. It's thearcanelibrary.com. Always a free adventure up if you want to grab something I've written and check it out.
Awesome. And Anthony, where can we find you if we want to catch up with you, buddy?
You can find me I'll allow it on Instagram.
Awesome. And thank you for joining us, Brian. We'd love to have you back again. Where can we find you if we want to catch up with what you're up to?
You can find me on my tabletop gaming Tumblr, Ablethai.
Yeah, awesome. And Thomas, always a pleasure. Thank you for playing. Where can we catch up with you if we want to interact with what you got going on?
I'm usually at Twitter on Twitter at Soul of Twit, TWHIT.
Perfect. Well, we hope all of you tune in again next time. We love playing Secrets of Hammerfast, and the crew will be back to continue the adventure soon. We'll be beginning our regular schedule in the new year in January, where we'll be getting back to playing every week again. But for now, we're sort of on a break for the holidays, but our holiday adventures will continue. So until then, we'll see you later. Bye. 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 Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.